Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 8 math. You can find all the lessons on aplusstudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password is provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab. Scroll down to grade 8 and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter proportional relationships. The lessons we're going to cover today are find a constant of proportionality from a table, identify graphs of proportional relationships, find the constant of proportionality from a graph, write equation for proportional relationships. So please make sure before the next session, so please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Okay, let's just start with the lesson. Okay, here I'm on grade 8 math. The chapter we are on right now is proportional relationships. Let's just start with the lesson, right? We're going to start with the first lesson, find the constant of proportionality from a table. Let's just start with the lesson. Okay, this table shows how the cost of an Ein's birthday party depends on the number of guests. What is the cost per gift? Per guest. You are given a table. You are given the guest and the cost. You have to find the constant of variation, right? You have to calculate the cost per guest. Let's just see how do we calculate the cost per guest. Basically, you are given the guest that is x and the cost that is y. You have to calculate the constant of variation y by x, right? Here you can see in this table, you have to calculate y over x. 8 over 8 and 12 over 12, that is 1. So the constant of variation for this question is 1. You simply have to divide y over 8 to calculate the constant of variation. Right here you can see for this one, this table shows how the amount of Billy earns from yard work depends on the number of hours he works. So you are given a table that that show you the amount, the time he spent and amount he earned, right? So you have to calculate how much money does uh, Billy earn per hour. How much money does Billy earn per hour? That is the constant of variation, which often represents the rate or cost. Will tell you the answer. To find the constant of variation, divide amount earned by time pass spent, right? So you have to do 12 over 2 y over x. You have to do 12 over 2 divided by 18 over 3. So that is 6. That means the constant of variation is 6, right? Okay, let's just start with the practice questions. This table shows how the total number of books Manuel has read depends on the number of months he has been part of the book club. So, which is the correct option? You are given a table that has the information about the month and the total books read. So, which is the correct option? The correct option is you have to calculate y over x, right? So the correct option is 7 over 7, 15 over 15. The correct option is only one book. That means the manual read each month only one book. The correct option is 1, right? Okay, the next one is this table shows how the total pages of notes in Henry's notebook depend on the number of hours he spends in class, right? You are given the table that tells you the time he spent in class and the number of pages he read, right? So you have to do y over x, that is 10 over 2 and 15 over 3. So 10 divided by 2 is 5 and 15 divided by 3 is also 5. That means the pages Henry read during the an hour of class is 5 pages, right? Y over x it is 10 over 2 and 15 over 3, right? The correct option is 5 pages. Option number 1 is the correct option, right? This table shows how the amount of tape Mary has used is related to the number of presents she has wrapped. So, which is the correct option? How many centimeters of tape does Mary use to wrap each present? Which is the correct option? The correct option is yes, that is 3 centimeter. Option number 1 is the correct option. 3 centimeter it is. This table shows how the total number of quizzes Lauren has ever taken in high school depends on the number of weeks she has started school this quarter. So, which is the correct option? That would be y over x, 8 over 2, and 12 over 3. Which is the correct option? The correct option is the correct option is 4 quizzes, right? The correct option is 4. This table shows how the cost of Cooper's graduation picnic depends on the number of attendees. What is the cost per attendee? Which is the correct option? The correct option is the cost per attendees is $2. The correct option is $2. The table shows how the cost of the corporate building event depends on the number of attendees. What is the cost per attendee? So whenever you have to calculate the constant of variation, you have to do y over x, right? You can see here y is 12, that is 12 over 3, and 16 over 4. 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 4 is 16. So the correct option is $4, right? The correct option is $4. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. Identify graphs of proportional relationships. Let's just start with the lesson. What this equation describes a relationship between x and y. X equals y equals 4x, right? So basically in this table you have some of the values missing, right? You can see here this table. So this table has the values missing. You have to find if the x is 2, what is the value of y? If the x is 2, basically you are given the equation y equals 4x, right? When x is 2, replace the 2 in the equation, that is 4 times 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So that means when x is 2, y is 8. When x is 3, y is 4 times 3, 12. It is the correct option is 12, right? This way you can complete the table. Let's see how do we graph them. You have to basically represent these pair of values on the graph paper. Okay, here is the pair of values. X is 2, y is 8. X is 3, y is 12. X is 4, y is 16. Just plot these points. Here is the x-axis. This one is the x-axis and this one is the y-axis. When x is 2, y is 8. Here is x2, right? And you can see here y is 8, right? That is the here x is 2 and y is 8. Then here x is 3, y is 12. When x is 4, y is 16, and when x is 5, y is 20. Just join these points and make a straight line, right? If you know how to plot the points on the graph, then that would be very easy for you. Okay, let's just start with the. Okay, this equation describes the relationship between x and y, right? You can see you are given the equation y equals 2x and a table of values, right? When x is 1, y is 2. When x is 2, y is 4. When x is 3, y is 6. When x is 4, y is 8. You have to graph this relationship, proportional relationship, right? How do we graph? Okay, we have to find x is 1, y is 2. Here x is 1, but y is 3. This isn't the correct option, right? 1. Let's just when x is 1, y is 2. When x is 2, y is 4. When x is 3, y is 6. When x is 4, y is 8. So option number 2 is the correct option. You simply can match the table of values with the graph, right? The correct option is option number 2 is the correct option. Okay. The next one is y equals 3x. The table of values are 0, 0, 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3, 9. Let's see which is the correct option. The graph of the proportional relationships always start with the origin. You can see here. You can match the table of is 0, y is 0. That would be the origin, right? X is 1, x is 1, y is 3, right? X is 2, y is 6, x is 3, y is 9. So that means the correct option is option number 1, right? One more thing is the graph of the proportional relationships always start with the origin. So option number 1 is the correct option. Let's just select the correct option and move on to next one. The equation describes the relationship between x and y. X is 2, y is 8. X is 3, y is 12. X is 4, y is 16. So which is the correct option? Yes, that is option number one is the correct option, right? Okay, this equation describes the relationship between x and y equals 6x. Which is the correct option? Here is the graphs. The first one is not the correct option, right? Why? Because the proportional relationships means when x is 0, y is 0, right? Yes, the correct option is option number. Yes, the second one is the correct option, right? This equation describes the relationship between x and y, which is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson, and the next lesson is find the constant of proportionality from a graph. This graph shows how the cost of Alexa's retirement party depends on the number of guests, right? So you are given the graph, you have to find the cost of variation. Basically, you need to find the slope. For the slope, you just need 2 points on the graph. Any 2 points, whatever you want, right? They can be any point, this and this, right? So you have to calculate change in x divided by change in y. That means you need to calculate the slope. Okay, let's just start with the test questions. Okay, so here is the graph given. You can select any 2 points on the graph, right, and calculate the slope. So, for example, this is the first point I'm going to select, and this is the second point, right? The coordinates of the first point is x is 2, y is 3, x is 4, y is right. So you need to calculate change in y, 6 divided by 3 divided by change in x. 6 minus 3 is 3, and 4 minus 2 is 4 minus 2 is 3, right? That means the slope is 1.5. The correct option is 1.5, right? So that means the constant of proportionality is or the slope is 1.5, right? Option number 1 is the correct option. The graph shows the how the total number of pieces Pecco knows how to sing depends on the number of weeks he take voice class lessons. So which is the correct option? Just select any 2 points on the graph. Here is the first one. Here is the second one. The first one is 20 and 30, 40 and 60, right? You have to do change in x, change in y divided by. So which is the correct option? 40 minus 20 it is. So the correct option is 1.50 pieces per week. The graph shows how the total number of pieces Paco knows how to sing depends on the number of weeks he take decisions. You have to calculate the slope. Is the first one and the second one, that is 0 0, right? Because this point is on the origin. And this is 40 and 60, right? So which is the correct option? You have to do y slope change in x divided by change in y. 60 minus 0 divided by 40 minus 0, that is 60 over 40. So the correct option is that is 3 over 2, or you can say 1.5. It is, that's the same one, 1.5 pieces per week. Okay, the graph shows how the total number of paper sheds office has recycled depending on the number of weeks since they started the new recycling plan. What is the constant of variation? Which is the correct option? You have to calculate change in y divided by change in x. How do you calculate? The correct option is 2 is the correct option, right? 2 kilograms per week. The graph shows how the cost of Alexa's retirement party depends on the number of guests. What is the constant of variation? That is 6. The correct option is $6 per guest. The correct option is $5 per guest it is. This graph shows how the amount of dough Malia has prepared is related to the number of hours she spent working at this bakery, which is the correct option. 2.55 kilograms it is. 2 point, basically what you have to do, you have to simply find 2 points on the graph, and then you have to calculate this formula, that is change in y divided by change in x, right? Okay. This graph shows how the total number of appetizer recipe Kira knows depends on the number of weeks she attend culinary school. What is the constant of variation, which is the correct option? That is 0.50 appetizers recipe per week, right? The graph shows how the number of flowers Jackson can have in his garden is related to the number of seed pockets packets he have. What is the constant of variation, which is the correct option? Yes, the correct option is 5 flowers per seed packet, right? Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So, we were working on grade 7 math. The chapter we were working on is proportional relationships, and the lessons we have covered today are find the constant of proportionality from a table, identify. So, please make sure before the next session you can complete all the practice questions for the lessons we did today. That is your homework until next session, right? So if you need more help with any of the lesson, you can contact any tutor on the Skype. They are available from Monday to Friday, 5 to 9, right? So that's all for today. If you have any questions related to the lesson we have just finished, you can please ask. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions if you have any, right? No questions? No questions? Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next session. Bye, everyone.